Welcome everybody to Inside the Cardinal Playbook as head coaches Jill Kress and Larry Holly join us to discuss Cardinal basketball. It's brought to you by the UPS store at 5510 Northeast Antioch in North Kansas City. Jill Kress joins us first. Coach, a split of the weekend games against a very good Quincy team, and then a loss there, but a win against the University of Illinois Springfield. Let's talk about Quincy first of all, because they came out and they were ready to play, and they played awful well. Yeah,
actually, when we played them down at their place, I think we kind of caught them off guard on our press a little bit, and they did a nice job adjusting to that. I think we still caused them some problems, but they're a great team. I mean, they're 10-2 in the conference, and you look at how we played. I'm not sure we played poorly. They shot the ball very well, and they're a really good team. I thought there were some things that maybe we didn't do as well as what we should. Or what we could do, but if we have another chance at them, it'll be a battle again, and I know they think so too. And it was a good game to watch and a good game to play, and you hate to lose, but I thought we played all right.
Well, I'll tell you what, on that team on that day, I thought looked as good as any that we've seen in the GLVC. They're very solid from top to bottom, yet you gave them a battle and you won on the road there. So a series split, and that's not a bad deal at all for you.
No, especially with Quincy. I mean, they are a very good team. They're, I think their strength is they're so much stronger than we are, and they've got some good players inside-out game. I think when we were down at their place, we really got them into a full court game, and they really struggled. Probably their one weakness is that they turn the ball over, and we exposed that the first time we played. They still turned the ball over, I believe, 22 times, which is quite a bit, but I think they were a little more prepared and had some plans on how to beat it, and they did, and we gave up some easy baskets on that, and they had a kid who we knew could shoot, but maybe didn't know she could shoot as well as she did. She went 8 for 10 from three-point range, and we maybe gave her some open looks early, but I thought we actually guarded her fairly well the second half, and
she had like 5 threes in the first 6 minutes.
Yeah, and actually I called one timeout just to tell them that she's not to get another three-point shot off, and they throw the ball in and run a play, and she gets an open look. So if we get another chance there, we'll be a little more prepared for her. But they're just a really good team, and a lot of weapons, and that happened to be the kid that went off on us on that particular day.
So the Cardinals lose there by 9 points against Quincy on Thursday night, but come back against the University of Illinois Springfield. Even though they're last in the conference, this was a big game for you.
It was a big game, and they're very athletic. Again, with our press, the first time we played them, I thought they struggled with. They were, handled it better this time. They're a good team. I thought, I was never comfortable in the win. I think we won by 16 points, but it was never a comfortable win. And we actually shot the ball well. When you look at the, we won by 16. We hit 11 three-pointers. Probably the thing that I was most disappointed out of that deal was that we gave up so many offensive boards. They had 21 offensive boards, and that's something that with our team we've really struggled with all year. And we've got just a short amount of time to get better at that. And I'm not real sure what you do exactly to do that. I don't know if it's a head thing with our players, but to give up 21 offensive boards, you're going to lose a lot of those games.
You've said it before too, that you kind of focus on what your team can do and what your team can do well. Is that one of those areas where maybe you just kind of let that go, understanding that's going to be a weakness, and try to build on the other positive things?
I thought about doing that. I told that with Coach Broughton. I'm like, we might just have to live through that, but it was miserable living through that against Springfield. And I just, I talked to the players a little bit about that after the game. We're not going to be a great rebounding team this year. And I kind of know that, but we can get better. And if each kid takes the responsibility in practice, we have a lot going on, and sometimes I forget to watch the box outs all the time. Sure. But if the players can take their own responsibility and know if they're boxing out and run, sounds dumb, but they can punish themselves with running down and back if they miss and things like that. Because this team really wants to win. It's a great group to coach. They know that that's going to be something that could come back and bite us if we get into playoffs, and it's something that I think is a good team to get to a great team, and you got to do those little things, and that's one that's really showing up for us.
Well, let me ask you this: you didn't play. It didn't seem to me, at least, like you played as much zone this past weekend. Is that directly related to that rebounding?
Yeah, I like our zone defense, except for that part. I think, and really, when we face a zone, I tell all of our players to go crash because it's really hard to box out in a zone. I mean, it just is. And for us, if we don't, go zone and we can't box out in a man, we're going to really struggle in a zone. And so we ran a little bit of it, but my philosophy I always love man defense anyway, and so most of the time I'll stick with that.
Before we leave the topic of UIS, my thought even during the game, during the broadcast, was that was a team that didn't quit playing even when they could have folded things up a couple of different times. They kept coming back at you, and for a team that has had kind of a tough year, I was impressed by that. Yeah,
a lot of times when you can get on top of a team like that that's really struggled, they'll fold, and they didn't. I think they're well coached, and they play hard, and they've got some good players and some kids that can do some things. And, they're a team that can upset anybody, I think. And if you look at their games throughout the year, they've played some teams, those top teams, really closely also.
Cardinals split the 2 games over the weekend, losing to Quincy, as we said, but winning against UIS 76-60. And now the Cardinals are 13-8 overall, 7-6 in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. In the Western Division, that puts you in 4th place, but this weekend is really big for you.
Yeah, it's really big for us. We're playing 2 teams that one's tied with us with UMSL, and then Maryville's in 2nd place. Maryville's a team that we beat here, played really well. They're really good, and UMSL was a back and forth game all the way. They're really physical. There's 2 different types of teams that we're playing, but if we can get both those games, that puts us in a great spot. And quite honestly, I looked at it. We could still finish 2nd in the conference, or we could still drop, and players know that. In these 5 games, I mean, there's no give me games in those. Those are all we really could do either way, and that's where the rebounding thing and those little things makes a big difference for us in these games coming up.
Who played well for you over this past 2 games?
Yeah, I always say I thought our team played well, but Caitlin Wood really played well. I thought Illinois Springfield, and Chelsea Meeks continues to do a lot of scoring for us. And I didn't realize Chelsea had 11 assists in her game.
I think that's a season high, isn't it, for your team?
It is. We had 9. Ariel Smith had 9 with Quincy, but then Chelsea had 11, and that might be a high as far as the Williamsville record. I don't have all those records, but 11 assists is a pretty big day. And but I think those 2 kids are pretty stable. Then the big thing is they had Wheeler come in and play really well with the Illinois Springfield game, and again, I kind of talked about this before. They're all kind of doing their roles, and doing what we need to do to win. And a very unselfish group, and that's what makes it fun coaching them. They're just a fun group that really just wants to win.
Right. I don't think you disagree with this, but I think you could say that you probably don't have a Player of the Year candidate on this team, but when we play well, when we play with energy, we're as good as anybody in the conference.
Yeah, and actually I like that. Sometimes it hurts our players, but I think those are the teams that are toughest to play, is when you don't have the 1 or 2 kids that teams can just focus on. And I really don't think we do. I mean, you have the Chelsea and Caitlin, but we also have other players that can step up and score, and those 2 kids know that also. And I think that makes that team tough to play, but it does kind of hurt them in the long run as far as maybe their stats aren't as big as what some of the other players are, and so they don't get that recognition. But again, knowing these girls, I think that's okay with them too.
5 games left, 4 are on the road. What do you have to do to make postseason?
Well, we need to win.
How about win all of them? That'll do.
Win them all will secure that. And actually, I kind of looked at it, and 3 and 2 gets us in for sure. Okay. But they take the top 5, and then they take the next 2, and it can be 2 from the east or 2 from the west, or 1 each. And just looking at McKendree's not eligible on that side, and then you look at we beat Parkside, and Parkside I believe is in 4th right now on that side. Right. So I would think even if we end up in that 6th spot that we would still get in at large, but I'd kind of like to get us in the best position that we can to make a run in playoffs.
How do the playoffs go with that many teams going? I would assume 4 get a bye in the first round.
Yeah, the 4 get
the
a bye.
Other 8 play at home sites?
Yeah, they play at the highest seed, and then eventually they all go to one place in Evansville and get a chance to play. And that'll be we get that opportunity. I think that's just a great setting, and then anything can happen.
Jill Kress has been with us here in our first segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook. She'll be back in a few moments as Larry Holly joins us at that point. Coach Holly is with us also after the break on Inside the Cardinal Playbook.
I'm going to change the world. I've got computers, I've got financing, I've got clients. I've got a business plan. I have VC money. I've got a game-changing idea. I've given myself room to grow. We're dangerous. Very dangerous. This is only the beginning. I'm going to own the future. There's just one problem. I don't know how to print this.
Professional printing.
Help!
And everything else a small business needs, now at the UPS Store.
I love logistics.
11 seconds to shoot, tied at 57. We're going to take it down and give Drury just a second or two. It's Meeks. It's Meeks for the lead, and Meeks for the tip. Get in there! That's what I'm talking about!
My name is Jesse Limekühler, CEO of Belvoir Winery, 110 years in the making. We provide a unique experience in that it's a historic building. It's 110 years old. And we allow people to bring in their own caterers to have a nice formal sit-down meal or something that's social and very casual. We let them do basically whatever they want as far as their event goes. We have the fountain running and have the gazebo up for all the wedding days and special days out here. I'm Jesse Limekühler, the CEO of Belvoir Winery.
Welcome back to Inside the Cardinal Playbook. Larry Holly now joins us, and Coach a split of the games this weekend, losing to Quincy on Thursday by 1, and then beating UIS by 6, I guess it was, on Saturday. Talk about the last seconds against Quincy.
Well, you know, Quincy, it just came down to them making more plays at the end than we did. Very competitive game over there. We had jumped a big lead, and then they just kind of took us apart and ended up beating us, I think, 83-60. And so it was a big game for both teams. We're both fighting to, you know, get in the top 12 and be in the postseason playoffs, that sort of thing. And at the end of the game, you know, it's tied, and they went strong to the hoop, and we fouled, and the young man stepped up, hit 1 out of 2. But we had some big plays at the end. Devontae Bell had a big three-point play late, and it was you know, our first game with the adjustment of not having Dwight on the floor. So a lot of adjustments being made. Moving Devontae Bell from the 2 to the 1, and you know, moving Andrew Strofield from the 3 to the 2. So it was, you know, and Ricky Tisdale had gotten hurt the day before in practice, and he's kind of our had started at the 2 earlier in the year, and had one of our also point guards. So it was an adjustment for us. I thought we did a lot of good things. First half, I think both of us set offensive basketball back a few years by our shooting performance, but second half it was 40-38, I believe, and I think we won the first half 17-16, something like that.
17-16.
We had everybody was cold in the first half, heated up in the second half, and again, it just came down to Quincy made more plays at the end than we did, and disappointed in the outcome, but not in the effort and the adjustments we've made.
The guard rotation is, of course, what I think a lot of people are looking at now, but it wasn't just new players in there, but you had to work with some players that were injured, coming off injuries, had just injured, and so it was kind of a jigsaw puzzle for you.
It was, and you know, Devontae Bell, who had played point guard all of his life through high school and all 3 years here, we had moved him to the 2 earlier in the year, and he was making a nice adjustment, had a real comfort level, and then all of a sudden, not that he hadn't played the 1, because he certainly had, but to move him back and play all those minutes, it was an adjustment for him, and a little more stress for the point guard, because you know, you're the guy bringing it up against pressure, you're the guy initiating the offense, and usually you're the guy initiating the defense. So, but it's a role he's played before, and he'll be fine.
The big men played well for you, it seemed like, against Quincy again. Dylan hurt himself the next day in practice, but he had some good production from inside.
We did. John Taylor had a double-double, 14 rebounds, which ties for the second most in the GLVC for the year. I think the most in a single game is 15. So a great performance by him, and he and Dylan are both among the conference leaders in rebounding, offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, and obviously total rebounds. So. You know, they're a good double in there for us, and Dylan was 1 rebound away, I think, from a double.
Yes, he was.
I think he had 9 rebounds. So that part of it was strong, and again, we needed that. We just came up a little bit short.
Lose by a point to Quincy, then come out against the University of Illinois Springfield. They've really struggled, especially on the road, but had just come off their first road win of the year. Coming in to play you, that a little bit frightening?
Well, we knew they'd come in with some confidence because they had beaten us in triple overtime a couple of weeks ago. That's a game that we, you know, just they made plays at the end and to keep putting it into the next overtime, and so it was a concern. It was a concern because, you know, you just don't know how people are going to react. We had lost in triple overtime at Illinois Springfield a couple of weeks ago, and then we did not step up and have a good performance at Quincy and got beat by 23. We lose to Quincy by 1. The disappointment of that. How do you recover? And then we did have some injuries that affected us also. But we had some guys step up, do a nice job. Jordan Lewis, who's been hurt for the last 2 or 3 weeks, is almost back to 100%. Gave us a real lift with some three-point shooting. But Ricky Tisdale, who had gotten hurt in practice Wednesday, was really sore Friday from having played a little bit Thursday. We tried him twice and he just couldn't go. And so that meant we had 1 point guard, and we had to hope that Devontae stayed out of foul trouble, didn't get hurt, and didn't get tired. And fortunately for us, he did a nice job in that regard.
You could see Ricky on a drive. He hit a shot, was coming back the other way. He was noticeably in pain, and I did see him bring him back in the second half, but again, not for very long. I think he played 5 minutes total.
It was tough, and the shame of it is that now he's going to get a chance to play a lot of minutes. And the last play of practice on Wednesday, he gets hurt, and it's a hip flexor. And he struggled Thursday and struggled even more on Saturday. So hopefully we get him back for this week. I haven't talked to him today. I know he's in there getting treatment every day, and we just have to hope to get him back because he's a key player for us. You know, both as a backup point and also playing time at the 2.
You know, I thought Andrew Schofield got you off to a good start on Saturday. He had a big first 5 or 6 minutes there and really got us off on the right foot.
Andrew's a good athlete. He's very capable of putting points up. He was a starting guard at Motlow State. Ricky Tisdale was the point, and John Taylor was the starting center. So we have 3 of their starters. But we've been playing Andrew at the 3 this year because we were a little deeper at the 2, and we thought he might be more effective there. And he's kind of come off the bench with Cyril Ballon behind Craig Matson at the 3. But we've moved him back to the 2, and he's still making those adjustments because some of the things that we do, we expect the 2 to be in this spot and the 3 to be in this spot, and now he's having to get all that reversed back. And it's a process for us at this point in time. But he's very capable, and he certainly gave us a lift.
The split this weekend now puts us on the road against UMSL on Thursday night and Maryville on Saturday afternoon. Right now in 4th place in the conference, and these road games coming up, and now 4 road games in a row, loom pretty big.
They do, and perhaps our biggest one of the year at home was UMSL. That was huge for us because we were coming off a disappointing loss on Thursday against Maryville.
Right.
And so that was a nice recovery win for us, just as last Saturday's was over Illinois Springfield. I know UMSL will be ready for us. They're 7-6 in the league. We're 6-7. And you know, TAP's going to have them ready to go. We'll have another week to prepare, you know, with people in different positions now than they were a week or so ago. So I know they'll be prepared. Certainly Maryville is in 2nd place. I don't know that they have that secured. I think they maybe have 4 losses in the league.
I think that sounds about right.
I'm not sure. I think maybe 9-4. I can't remember for sure. But anyway, they're in 2nd behind Drury, who's in 1st, and those are our next 3 games. We're playing 1, 2, and 3 in our next 3 games, all on the road. So a big test for us. We need to find a way to come back with a couple wins in St. Louis.
Cardinals are in 4th place currently in the GLVC West, and with 5 teams going plus 2 wild cards, can you make any kind of a statement about we need to do this or that to get in?
Well, the top 12 teams go. 5 from the East, 5 from the West, and the next best 2. So it could be 7 from the East and 5 from the West, or vice versa, or it could be 6-6.
Sure.
Here's what I know. There's kind of 4 of us right now. Now, this could all change, but there's 4 of us right now in a fight for 3 of those spots. And one is Quincy, which we're 1 game ahead of them, but if we finish in a tie with them, we lose tiebreaker.
Right.
Because they beat us twice. We're 2 games now ahead of Illinois Springfield. If we finish in a tie with them, we've split, and then I'm not sure what the next tiebreaker is. St. Joseph's on the east side could also, if we finished in a tie with them, we have tiebreaker over them. So I haven't gone that far into it. We know we just have to continue to play well, and whatever happens, happens. But certainly one of our goals was to be in the top 12. There was a time that maybe we had a chance to be in the top 8. It's not totally out of the realm of possibility, but we might have to sweep these last 5 games to make that happen. And but it'll be a good test for us, and we look forward to the opportunity.
That's Coach Larry Holly. Thank you, Coach, for joining us. He'll be rejoining us here after the break as we go coach to coach. Jill Kress re-enters the picture when we return on Inside the Cardinal Playbook.
This is corporate headquarters. As you can see, I have a unique business. How do I compete with the big boys? I've got this fancy business address, a marketing department, distribution center, got a great team, even a cafeteria.
That's mine.
From packing and shipping to printing and mailbox services, come into the UPS store for everything a small business needs.
I love logistics.
Foreclosure, repossession, garnishment. Costello and Farah can fight for you.
Are creditors threatening to take your property or your money? My office has helped thousands of people in the Kansas City area protect their assets through debt reorganization or bankruptcy protection. Call my office at 816-505-HELP and see if we can help you protect your assets and get you back on your feet.
The attorneys of Costello and Farah, lawyers who will fight for you. Call 816-505-HELP today.
We return on Inside the Cardinal Playbook now with Coach to Coach. It's Larry Holly and Jill Kress joining us together. Coaches, the subject today is I'd like you to think about the other coach and tell me, what do you think that coach's biggest accomplishment in their career has been, in terms of a basketball coach, of course. What do you think the other's accomplishment has been? And then I'm going to ask you to name that accomplishment for yourself. Volunteers to start out here?
Okay, I think probably just surviving that first 5 years without me speaking to her.
Yeah.
I don't know how she survived it, quite honestly, but because the last several years have been much better for her. I don't know that there's a single accomplishment. She's had a lot of great wins. She's taken 7 teams to the national tournament. She's won over 300 games. She's pretty much done it all except maybe winning a national title, which a lot of people haven't won, including me. But I just think the job that she's done on a consistent basis, and I would include what she's done last year and this year in the GLDC. You know, she's going to be above 500 both years, and to do that in the first 2 years, going straight from NEI to Division II, I think it's an outstanding accomplishment. So I would say the 7 out of 7 national tournament appearances, and the job she's done this year and last year at the NCAA Division II level.
Coach, when you look at Coach Ollie's career, what do you see as kind of top achievement?
Well, actually, you know, with his career, there's so many in there, and I'm blessed to be able to coach with him and learn from him. And you know, you look, he's in 5 Hall of Fames, but probably his biggest accomplishment, and maybe a lot of people don't get to see that I get to, is the type of players that he graduates and his graduation rate and his winning percentage. I mean, you look at how many wins he has, and you know, for me, I appreciate the way he coaches those kids. And even though it's not a plaque on the wall, for me, that's his biggest accomplishment, is the type of kids that he gets, the type of kids that he recruits, how he can win every year, and the young men that graduating from that, you know, the alumni game was one way for me to be able to see that. He has so many kids that come back and just want to see him and talk to him, and you know, he has so many players that go out coaching, and I think a lot of that is because of the example that he has set for them. And to me, as a coach, that's what I would want. That's my biggest accomplishment, and I know for him, he's reached that, and I admire that. You know, as a colleague and as a coach, I admire what he's done with all those young men.
Larry, what do you think your biggest accomplishment has been? What's the thing, and of course with more to come, we want to state that right away, but to this point, what are you most proud of as far as your accomplishments?
Well, and I should have mentioned that with her as well because of her alumni game Saturday, but Alumni Day is always one of my most fun days, and to have 26 of our former players come back, many others who couldn't work it out because of their schedules. But she mentioned this, 12 of the 26 are either currently coaching or have coached. And you know, that means a lot to me that they would, having put up with me for 1, 2, or 3, or 4 years, and a couple of guys' cases 5 years. We won't mention names. John Davenport. And I give John a hard time. John's a former assistant coach here, a great family man and great player out of William Chrisman and at William Jewell. But I would think hopefully it's been a good experience for them, and we've had some sort of influence on them that's affected them in a positive way. But to have that many people, young men, come back and that many go into coaching means an awful lot to me.
Jill, what do you pick as maybe the thing in your career here at Jewell that's been your biggest accomplishment?
Well, he kind of touched on it earlier by putting up with him would be, you know, I have survived 17 years now with him, and those first 5 years were probably my best when he didn't talk to me. But probably personally, you know, the wins and everything is nice. Probably my biggest thing is probably balancing family. You know, I've got 4 kids that are mean the world to me, and I don't ever want them to feel shafted, but also with my players. And I think I do a pretty good job of balancing both the family and our players, and you know, so that nobody feels shortchanged at all. Sure. And putting my best for both of them, and kind of building a family there with my kids. I know my personal kids really look up to our players, and I really appreciate the kind of type of players that we have. And I think probably, I'm not sure if that counts as an accomplishment, but it's something
I think so.
That means a lot to me.
Jill and Larry, thank you for joining us coach to coach here on the Coaches Show. We're back with the final word in a moment.
So, I'm my own man. I can work from home. I can make meetings, I can make deadlines, I can make proposals, I can remember birthdays, I can entertain clients, I can pay for lunch. Yeah, I can do it 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3:15, I can do anything. Done, on it, yes, taken care of. 50 two-sided bound color presentations by tomorrow, I can do that. How do I do that? I love logistics.
Deck free, and he dunks.
What a play by Taylor coming off the backside.
That's got a good look. Squeezes it off. Just narrowly got it by, and then look at the block by Cyril.
And that's Inside the Cardinal Playbook for this week, and our thanks go out to Coach Larry Holly and Coach Jill Kress, who joined us on this week's show. The Cardinals are in St. Louis this weekend. You can listen live Thursday night and Saturday afternoon as the Cardinals play UMSL and then Maryville. The UPS store at 5510 Northeast Antioch is our sponsor of Inside the Cardinal Playbook. We'll see you next week.